As I toured the state over the last year, one of the things that people are concerned about is being true to conservative principles, to the kinds of things that we say that we will, and sticking to our positions, and sticking to what we've said we're going to do, the way we represented ourselves. Frankly, over the past year, I've seen both candidates, for the auditor's race, the current candidates for the auditor's race, speaking over and over again at events. The trouble is, one of them wasn't really running for the auditor's race, and I think there is some disappointment in the grassroots that, in fact, at the last minute there was a switch in the race. Now, I personally like both candidates. I think they're good guys. The fact of the matter is, though, there is one CPA running, one guy who's been consistent, who's been part of the grassroots movement from the beginning. This time last year when it was just Rick Santelli's rant on the TV, and one person that I think will win the primary and, in fact, will win the auditor's race and secure the fortune court seat, and that person is Seth Morgan. So I very, very strongly urge people to accept this amendment and vote for it. Seth has support across the state from... Okay, sorry. I guess I'm done. Thank you.
Started tapping Jack when he got to 2.5. So know where the limits are. Thank you, Jack, for that. Is there another speaker to speak against the motion to amend? Okay, Chair recognizes Dave Bailey. We'll make you go up the steps. Speak from the floor if you'd like. Unless you want.
I prefer not to have steps. I'm Dave Bailey. I think many of you know me. One of the jobs that we had last Saturday was for the standing committee to interview the candidates. And we interviewed Seth Morgan in person and Dave Yost by telephone. One of the things that the committee had to try to do was to try to figure out who is the best candidate for the Republican Party against relatively, apparently strong Democratic opponent who has apparently quite a bit of money behind him. It was the committee's conclusion, and I would support the committee and therefore ask you to vote against the motion, that Dave Yost was already working very hard to line up the support that he needs to line up in order to win the primary and also win the November election. Jack Boyle is right. We have two great guys that are running for Auditor of State at this point. We have only one who has ever served as a public auditor and who has received 4 awards for the 4 years, one for each year, of having served as auditor of Delaware County. He has since served for 7 years as the prosecuting attorney in Delaware County, and I first met him approximately a year ago at our Lincoln Day meeting. I'm impressed with both candidates, but I urge you to support the standing committee and support the idea that Dave Yost should be the nominee and the endorsed candidate of the Cuyahoga County Republican Party. Thank you.
I trust him so much I forgot the time, but he made it. I mean, I had the timer on, I just left it up here. Under the wire, Nick. Thank you. That is 2 candidates, or two speakers for each side. And barring a motion to extend debate, I'm going to recognize the 2 candidates to hear from them before we vote on the motion. And since we're taking the motions, the motion was to amend Seth Morgan, to include the name of Seth Morgan, the chair is going to recognize Seth Morgan to address the committee on the motion to amend. Ladies and gentlemen, Representative Seth Morgan. 3 minutes.
pleased to be back in Cuyahoga County and grateful for the amendment. I do ask for your support tonight. You know, I've been before you before. I think most of you, when I came up to speak at the Freedom Rally, that was a great time. I enjoyed being with many of you and heard good feedback. We've been up to the Cleveland area several times since we announced our candidacy. I am from Huber Heights. Most of you should have my bio in front of you. My wife and 3 children live there. I served as a council member for 7 years and now serve as a state representative, serving as the policy chairman of the House Republican Caucus. I won't go into the great depth of detail that because I could blow my 3 minutes very quickly, but I will tell you, while a council member, I led a very historic charge to decrease the income tax rate in the city of Huber Heights, forcing the bureaucrats to spend less and deliver the same amount of services. That took a lot of effort on our part and a lot of personal sacrifice, as my family was frankly threatened politically through that, and even throughout that period of time, even physically. I think Rachel spoke to some of the leadership that I provided in the Ohio House. I won't recall the taking Governor Strickland to task. I'm very proud of that. But also as the policy chairman, I can tell you that we have provided leadership by providing countless alternatives to the Democrats' failed policies to turn around in Ohio. I believe, let me address some of the things that have been said. I believe I am the most credentialed and qualified, credible candidate for this race. Come November, we will face a very difficult challenge, and David Pepper, who is from Cincinnati, will be very well funded. The fact is, one of the reasons I stayed in this race is that Mr. Yost and I, who I also like and believe is a very good man, started basically at the same point. Matter of fact, December 31st, I had more money in the bank than he did. I don't think money makes elections, but for folks to stand up and tell you that this is a case of credibility and winnability is just flat wrong. As a certified public accountant, I do audits. I have done audits. And I can tell you that the role of a county auditor and the role of a state auditor is vastly different. The state auditor is in the business of issuing financial audit reports. County auditors do not do that. And I would ask for your support and tell you that if we elect a candidate to serve as our nominee for Auditor of State, who has shown a great passion, and deservedly he is owed applause for that, for Attorney General, and then turns around and runs for Auditor of State, I believe that will put us at a deficit when dealing with the well-funded David Pepper. The fact is, when big money is spent against you, you have to rely on the quality, the credentials, and the qualifications of a candidate of the party that you're working with. I believe I can bring that excitement. I can bring with me the new emerging Tea Party crowd, who is largely around the state behind me. I can bring to this race the very same thing Mary Taylor brought, which is a qualification that David Pepper cannot argue with. This is not attorney running against attorney, to all my attorney friends in the room. This is going to be a CPA running against attorney. David Pepper will start out at a deficit with qualification alone. We will deliver the grassroots excitement, as we are already doing in the short campaign that we've already started all across the state of Ohio. We're picking up endorsements not just from social conservative and fiscal leaders, but also from county parties, just like yours. Greene and Brown County, Greene County being the home of Chairman of the ORP, Kevin DeWine, has already endorsed me. I ask you to have courage. I ask you to endorse myself. I appreciate our team, Rachel and Jack and Jim Tracus and Dave Harbarker, Diane Stover, people that are coming together from both moderate and social conservative leaders alike to back my candidacy, whether it's for the qualification, the leadership they see, the strength they see, or the fact they believe I will win. I hope you'll endorse me tonight. I look forward to receiving it. More than anything, I look forward to working with you to elect a Republican auditor in November of 2010. Thank you very much.